When you stand at the blackboard in front of the class, everyone is openly making fun of you, even the teacher. You want to burst into tears like a little baby, but I don't cry because then my mascara will leak, which, by the way, costs $200. My paper that I was supposed to present is ruined, and I can't remember a thing. My thoughts are jumbled up in my beautiful head. Some spreadsheets, some arguments. Wait, do my sneakers match my skirt? No, not now. The report. How hard is it to be so irresistible and stupid at the same time? Hi, my name is Brittany, and I'm the prettiest girl in school, and even in the whole state, but hopelessly stupid. Everyone at school knows me. Everyone in New Jersey knows me. And it's because I'm beautiful. And it's not about overstated self-esteem. I had photo shoots for teen magazines before, and even for makeup commercials. My looks are like a magnet that attracts everyone around me. But magnets have two poles. One attracts and the other repels. It's the same for me. My appearance attracts everyone, but my intellect terrifies a lot of people. Unlike my unattractive peers, I learned to read from my mother's fancy magazines. I learned numbers with their help, except I didn't know the words that were in the magazine. Yes, and mathematical examples didn't add up in my head. I learned how to count from cosmetic deals, and what do I need all that for? Why did I need the word gravity? For example, it's all for boring nerds who can make fun of me because I believe in magic. Well, how else do you explain that an airplane can fly? Or where does lightning come from? Or for example, why don't we roll off from around the planet? Many times they wanted to expel me from school, but every time my saviors, the reporters from the local news channels, showed up. They were so fascinated by me that I first got featured in a report about the school, and then I got featured on city banners and online shopping sites. Such a popular girl is needed by the school, and the teacher had to give me normal grades. While in class, I painted my classmates' nails. It is true that my stupidity has led to very unpleasant situations more than once. For example, once in high school, we had a costume party. I knew perfectly well that there would be no equal to me. There, everyone would be a corny superhero or characters from movies and games. I prepared a costume of a stylish pink bunny with rhinestones. No guy can resist me. In style, I burst into the auditorium, dancing to the music from my Bluetooth speaker. And then I noticed with horror that the party was really tasteless. Everyone dressed up as some kind of nerds, ridiculous sweaters, books. What is this, a Harry Potter cosplay? But I wasn't confused. Who summoned the bunny? Patronus, I shouted to the young lady. What's going on here? A woman came up to me who looked like Professor McGonagall. That's some real makeup, nice cosplay. So, where's the pumpkin shake? Time to dance, nerds. Magic party. I jumped on the table and started chugging away, confounding the nerds with books. However, instead of excitement, everyone experienced a fierce cringe that McGonagall pulled me off the table. What do you think you're doing? I'm calling your parents. Listen, you play your part very well. Why isn't there any music? I looked around and my ears slapped McGonagall in the face. As it turned out later, it wasn't a party, it was a reading club. The guys rescheduled the party by writing about it in a chat room. But am I going to read tons of text? I only communicate using emojis. I ended up getting dragged right out of there by the pink ears, but I didn't care. I was still the most irresistible bunny at that nerdy party. One day, I had to do an art history project while being paired with another student. My partner happened to be David. Getting to know him is another story. I hate that nerd. It happened in chemistry class. David had just arrived in class. The professor had paired me with him, told David to watch me and not to put anything in my hands. But who could resist me? David was so into me that he forgot to take the chemicals off the shelf, so he asked me to get some stuff with an unpronounceable name. I went to the shelf and was shocked by the number of jars, but I was not confused and I chose the prettiest one. Well, now you can mix the green and the blue. David looked at me with a stupid smile. What is green and blue? That combination is out of a fashion show. I took the red and yellow tubes and mixed their contents, and then chaos ensued. A thick foam rose up. Everything was hissing and bubbling, and it smelled so bad that it made tears come out of my eyes. We were all evacuated from the classroom, and David got so kicked out by the teachers. From that moment on, he hated me for being so stupid, and I hate him for being nerdy. Blue and green? Well, you know those colors don't go together, right? And now we're doing a project together. We honestly tried to get along. I even gave him the code to my locker where I kept my report. But eventually, the teacher got so fed up with David's whining that we got separated. It wasn't a good thing, though. If I failed the report, I wouldn't be able to get away with it. It was a year's worth of credit. But would I, such an irresistible girl, doubt myself? When I do this report, I will not only be the prettiest, I will also be the smartest girl in my class, I exclaimed in class. Brittany, can you even read? David grinned. If I do this, you can take me on a date. So what? David may be a nerd, but he is handsome. If you fail the report, you'll be dressing in secondhand clothes, he countered. Those words took my breath away. What a pervert! It's secondhand? You see, I had no choice, so I had to do everything myself. The only thing that kept me going was my friend Judy. She and I have been friends for a long time, and I supplied her with clothes that didn't fit my style. Judy hated David as much as I did. Can you believe it? It's done, I bragged, but Judy's reaction made me even prouder. I got the culture of France, and France is fashion. You're going to beat David. You want a date with him? Well, he is handsome. I shrugged. Oh, I imagined him with a sour face taking me out to a restaurant. Except when I opened my locker on the day of the report, I almost cried. There was no report. It just disappeared. No, this isn't magic anymore. It's David. I'll kill you, David. Where's my report? I attacked the guy. What do I need your report for? Give it back. I'm not going to dress like a beggar. Brittany, I didn't take it. David was shocked. There wasn't much time to investigate. I had to find my report. Only David could have taken it. He knows the code. Judy confirmed my hunch, too. She said she had opened my locker today and the report was there. And then she noticed David approaching my locker. That's definitely him, Brittany. Oh, I can't imagine you walking around in cheap rags. Judy clutched her head. That's how I ended up in front of the board without a report. And David laughed, discussing something with his friend. That's okay. I have a surprise for him. I know the code of his locker too, and I know that red and yellow cans in the chemistry lab can make a boom. My head was spinning with excitement. It also seems that the curl on my hairdo was lying incorrectly. And oh no, what is Judy doing with her manicure? She's picking her nails and she just got them done yesterday. Suddenly, one of her nails fell off and I almost fainted. That's awful. I should give her money for a proper manicure. So, Brittany, why don't you just sit back down? The teacher shook his head condescendingly. I'm not going to walk around in rags, I shrieked. The whole class froze and I suddenly began to give a report. Can you imagine the words themselves formed into sentences? I was helped by associations. For example, I wrote the first part of the report about the new album of my favorite band, so I remembered perfectly what I had written. The writing process of the second part was interrupted by the new issue of Vogue from time to time, and so I told the whole report. Everyone was shocked. The teacher lowered my grade because I didn't bring a paper version of it to the class, but I got the credit. David came up to me after class when I was going through my locker. You didn't try hard enough. I'm free tonight, and I only go to high-end restaurants. I was so proud of myself, then the books fell out of my locker. David picked them up and then handed me something else as well. This must be yours. In his hand was a blue fingernail patch. Are you completely stupid? I don't wear that. It's a fake fingernail. I went to Judy's to celebrate my victory, but my friend wasn't in the mood, so I suggested she get a proper manicure because she already had 2 blue nails peeling off. Poor thing. I gave her money for a beauty salon and left to go get ready for my date. But something struck me as odd. I thought about David, the locker, Judy, the nails. Oh no, that's right, fingernails. I should ask Judy to take a picture of her new manicure. Manicures are an essential part of any girl's look. And how could David think I would wear fake nails like Judy's? I mean, this is an extreme measure. It is weird that the blue fingernail was in my locker. What was it doing there? What's even stranger is that Judy wasn't in the mood. Maybe she was mad about her lost fingernail? Wait, that's her fingernail. She took my report. Such a complex chain of thoughts just tore my head apart. I ran to Judy, stormed into her room. It was you, I shrieked. Oh, Brittany, it's always taking you so long. How do you even survive with such a chicken brain? Why, Judy? What did I ever do to you? I gasped with resentment. I'm always in your shadow. How can a dumbass avoid problems so easily? And how did David even look at you? He doesn't pay any attention to me, and he fell in love with you at first sight. He hates me, and you hate him. Your stupidity gives me a headache. Judy rubbed her temples. He likes you, you fool. All in tears with spreading mascara, I went to a restaurant where David was to talk about everything. I expected him to call me stupid too, but David suddenly said it wasn't like that. You told the report without a single stutter, Brittany. Even I couldn't do that. But everyone thinks I'm stupid. You proved everyone wrong today. I think you consider yourself as stupid. That's why you didn't even try to work things out before. He suddenly took my hand and I melted like a snowball. Brittany, now it seems to me that you were completely different. And you know what? David was right. For the sake of an experiment, I started turning my brain on sometimes. Yes, at first I had headaches and got tired from making very difficult decisions, but people started to look at me differently. I wasn't just a pretty doll. I became a girl who could study properly and not even get into idiotic situations. I also became David's girlfriend. Yeah, we're dating, so don't think you're stupid. Maybe you're just not putting in enough effort or you're just lazy. Do you consider yourself a stupid person? Write your answers in the comments, like this video, and share it with your friends so they can watch our stories too. Hi everyone, my name is Liz and I am a real boss, but not a simple one because I have to manage my parents. Soon, you will learn how this happened and how this situation affected the relationship within our family and me in particular. In fact, my parents were always quite demanding and strict of me. From about 4 years old, my life was scheduled by the minute. Music school, French tutor, gymnastics, ballroom dancing. In fact, my childhood ended abruptly and very early because together with non-childish loads, I had no time left for free play or for walks on the playground, which I love very much. But my parents said that it was all for the sake of my future, and I will thank them when I grow up. But the future at that age worried me, least of all, because I was just a child, and I wanted to be like all children, play, walk, enjoy every day. But no one was interested. They just stole my childhood, trying to make me a Superman. By the age of 10, I had many awards for winning music competitions, medals from sports competitions, and perfect marks in the school records. Everything was the way my parents wanted, but that didn't make me happier. But still, the frantic pace of my life made itself felt, and by the age of 13, I was incredibly smart, comprehensively developed, and well-read. This is an objective opinion, if anything. I could answer perhaps any question. I could design a robot, do a triple back somersault, and retell any work of Shakespeare. But in addition to the acquired skills, innate talents began to appear which no one knew anything about before. Suddenly, I realized that dancing, sports, and music are not exactly what I really want to do. Deep inside, it turned out I wanted to be an entrepreneur. A lot of money-making schemes were ripening in my head every day, But my parents didn't want to hear anything about it and told me not to clog my head with nonsense. And then, for the first time in my life, I decided to act in secret from my parents and implement one of the first business ideas. I needed a small amount of money, which I borrowed from my friend Catherine, and then I had a little left to do. I bought a batch of 50 simple t-shirts, ordered a print of hype prints for them, and started selling them to my friends and classmates via Instagram. The net profit after the sale of the entire product was $300. But considering that this is income for a week and that I practically did not have to do anything, not bad in my opinion. So I can say with confidence that my first business experience was a success, and that was a great motivator for me. I realized that I needed to continue and that I was on the right track. So I ordered a batch of 100 more t-shirts and then 300 more. A month later, I had more than 10,000 followers on my Instagram page, and I added backpacks, baseball caps, and bracelets to the t-shirts. And then my average daily profit reached $200. But as my page grew, so did my income. And then I thought about legalizing my business. But because of my age, my opportunities were severely limited, so I had a choice. Either wait for the age of maturity, and for now be content with what I have, or tell everything to my parents and register my business with one of them. The fact that sooner or later they would have learned about everything and I could not hide my activities from them for a long time, I was in favor of the latter option. As a result, not without difficulty, I made a decision and told my parents about everything. Perhaps this news was most terrible for them. No, I certainly guessed that the reaction would be negative, but not to this extent. Mom went into hysterics and said that there is no greater shame than me as her daughter, a seller of t-shirts, and that they put so much energy and money into me, not for this. Dad actually said that he had lived his life in vain, and it was a fiasco. I felt guilty, but I didn't know what I was doing wrong. However, after a couple of days, my parents cooled down, and when they learned about the income that my business brings, their anger finally subsided. We were going to have a serious conversation during which we had set priorities and decided how our family would live on. As a result, my parents allowed me to continue selling t-shirts, but on the condition that it would not harm my activities and sports. There was no choice. I agreed, and my mother registered my business for herself, formally becoming the director of the store, but still the main and key part of the work was done by me. My business continued to grow, and my parents and I no longer had time to serve everyone, so we had to think about expanding. And since my dad started having problems at work, he offered me his candidacy as a warehouse manager. Soon he was joined by my mom, who took over the duties of the general manager. From that moment on, my parents started working for me. At first, everyone was happy and everything because our family's income increased many times, and we were even able to afford the purchase of a country house. My parents were euphoric for a long time and made grandiose plans for the future. They looked like kids who had been given unlimited credit at an ice cream shop. I found it very strange and at times funny to watch them from the sidelines. It took quite a bit of time, and I began to spend less time on gymnastics. Partly because I realized it wasn't my thing at all, and partly because of my business. I didn't want to waste my time on useless workouts, and instead I created new designs for our clothes. My parents didn't like the state of affairs at all, and they were angry with me. My mother threatened to completely remove me from the business, which, if you please, I created and promoted. And Dad generally said that the success of our store is precisely his and my mother's merit, not mine. Yes, you heard that right. It turned out that my parents decided that they raised such a talented and brilliant daughter who was able to launch a successful project, and therefore the store should rightfully belong to them. And I'm just a tool. This made me very angry. I was angry as ever before. And when my whole being rebelled against this injustice, I told my parents that I was going out of business and would no longer participate in it at all. My parents just laughed and said that my participation had not been required for a long time. After I abandoned the store, I started a new page on Instagram and started everything from scratch. Drawing up designs, building a customer base, first sales. Once again, my business began to flourish rapidly, and the store that my parents took away from me failed. After I left, sales began to fall and customers began to leave for me. My parents were very angry with me and completely banned me from doing sales. They said that all they were giving me permission for was school, sports, music, and languages. Otherwise, I will be deprived of all my gadgets and banned from using the internet. I've never felt so powerless before. In fact, I couldn't do anything because of my age, and I had no choice but to accept my parents' conditions. For the first time in my life, I began to feel depressed and completely despondent. But suddenly, the unexpected happened. My parents had to completely close the store that was once taken from me, and they could not find a new job. Now they had no choice, and they asked me to forgive them and asked me to go back into the business. Besides, they allowed me to give up gymnastics and asked me to decide on my own what I would like to do. Of course, I agreed, and my business became our family business again. This time, the success was simply overwhelming, and the turnover increased many times. My parents had to admit that I was a talented designer and talented businesswoman, and just a very good daughter. But it seems to me that they are just very selfish and see me as something like a cash cow from which they want to make profit. In any case, I cannot choose my parents, and I temporarily accept all the conditions of my parents. Do you believe in the sincerity of my parents' words, or do you share my opinion? Write your answers in the comments, click on the thumbs up button, and subscribe to our channel because every day we have new, interesting stories.